Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The Ukrainians' attacks inside Russian territory are a daily occurrence nowadays, and they have the capability. Good for them, I guess. And I didn't understand from the very beginning of this war why the Ukrainians were, I don't know, forbidden to return the favor to the Russians. Like the Russians would attack their cities and they're inside Ukraine, but Ukraine was not allowed to kick back or hit back or strike back. Now it seems like, not it seems like, because the Americans said, we have no problem with you doing that, and I don't think why they had before a problem with doing that. Probably don't try to escalate certain things. Anyway, I'm not concerned with, for instance, attacks that are near the border. Concerned meaning concern for an escalation. Because you say, well, you just do it here, 30, 50 kilometers across the border and all that. I'm talking about Ukrainians. Because the Russians hit Lviv and Lvov and whatever on the west side of Ukraine. Now, what did the Ukrainians do this time? No, they didn't hit again 750 kilometers east towards, how do you call it, Siberia or anything, which it showed they are capable of doing that, and Moscow could be the next target. And I'm 98% certain that will happen, but that's just my gut feeling. This article comes with the new Voice of Ukraine. It is from January 2nd, 2023. Energy facility, military airfield reportedly damaged in drone attacks in 2 Russian regions. A drone attack reportedly took place in the Klimovo district of Russia's Bryansk Oblast on January 2nd, the Russian regional governor Alexander Bogomaz reported on the Telegram messenger. He said the strike has caused a fire at the energy facility. And I'm quoting, there were no casualties, Bogomaz said, and I'm quoting again. All emergency services are working at the scene. An energy facility was damaged as a result of the strike. The village was left without power. Well, I guess if the Ukrainians do it, that's fine. If the Russians do it, that's terrorism. In addition, a strong blast reportedly occurred near the Baltimore, Maryland, is that military airfield in Voronezh, Russia at night. However, no information about the consequences of the strike has been reported yet. In recent months, there have been a number of strikes on Russian military targets, both in Russian-occupied parts of Ukraine, such as Crimea, and Russia itself. The Engels 2 airbase near the Russian city of Saratov, which is about 620 kilometers away from the closest Ukrainian-controlled territory, had been hit by explosions at least 3 times in the past month. December 5, December 26, and December 29. If you look on the map, you can see where the Kremlin is, or at least Moscow. The base is home of a fleet of strategic bombers Russia has used to launch cruise missiles at civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. Only civilian, 100% civilian. Earlier in August, Ukraine is thought to have struck a Russian-occupied airbase in Ukraine's Crimea. There were 2 of them, and then on October 8th it may have attacked the Crimean Bridge, a vital Russian military supply line. So that was not a civilian target, no. That's a vital Russian military supply line. You understand? Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's move on. Linking the Ukrainian-Russian occupied Crimea with Russia itself. So that's why that doesn't count actually as being a civilian infrastructure and cause the Russians to retaliate badly and start destroying these guys' civilian infrastructure, because maybe the Ukrainians hit that military infrastructure called the Kerch Bridge, Crimean Bridge. Ukraine has not acknowledged responsibility for the attacks in Crimea and on Russian soil. However, a couple of days before the first strike on the Engels 2 airbase in December, Ukraine announced that it had developed a strike drone with a range of 1,000 kilometers carrying 95-kilogram warhead. that was something that they didn't develop then. That was something that was developed, according to the Russians, during the Soviet times in 1970s, and then it was upgraded in 1980s and then 2006 or so, and probably now it was again upgraded to fit the American communication systems and control, if you know what I mean, and guidance. I don't think the Ukrainians did that through their satellites, did they? Oh wait, they don't have satellites. It's okay, they're gonna use the civilian ones. Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you very much. So anyway, I'm not, first of all, I think that, is a tragedy what's going on with the Ukrainian nation and with the Russian nation. Unfortunately, for the interest of some mofos, that's what bothers me the most, because these guys are dying for some people in some very cozy leather-filled saloons with some cigars and with some bourbon, whiskey, and they, or champagne, whatever that might be, and they dictate how the world is and who's dying and who's not. And unfortunately, they don't give a damn about those. And then we pay for that, and they make profits. I mean, during wartime, we always had profiteers. And profiteers were there in your face or behind the scenes, and profiteering by supporting both armies. So it's open opportunity season, I guess. So in this case, yes, they hit these guys. As I said, these guys, the Ukrainians, hit the Russian civilians or military. It's I don't like it because I don't see I don't like it. I mean, I couldn't say I like it in any way, but it's just moreover, I don't like it, or more than I don't like people dying like that. It's just I'm saying like that, yes, because we have these profiteers. That's what bothers me. These schemers who are just counting their money, and they don't give a shit about the ants dying in Ukraine or Russia. That's what bothers me. And those guys over there kill themselves, like kill one another like crazies. And then you have in charge of the Ukrainian nation, yeah, the ones that speak Ukrainian, and they have Ukrainian genes and all that, and they are controlled by a bunch of four little pigs, if you know what I mean, and they pretend to be the greatest Ukrainians in the country. Anyway, this should stop, but it doesn't stop until probably Ukraine will run out of its Ukrainian fighters, but don't worry, the other side will provide military under the guise of volunteers. I have no doubt that would happen, and is there. I mean, no doubt. I would be 99% certain that as we speak right now, those volunteers, some volunteers over there in Ukraine, are not volunteers. They are volunteers by the contract they signed and so on, but they have other contracts signed before they enter Ukraine, which are the real contracts. But we're going to find about this maybe in 15 years, after you have a brave author to stick his neck out and provide us with the information. If it's not going to be at that time politically incorrect to do that, or possibly illegal. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.